What's up, producers? I've got a really cool and unique brand that we've just welcomed into the plugin boutique community called Time Off Audio. It does not get more boutique than this. It's just one guy literally writing the code for the plugins, doing the marketing, and I believe even making the website. Really talented individual, and he's right down the road in London. So I'm going to go down there, meet him, see what he's all about, and check out some of these really cool and innovative plugins that he's been working on.
What's up, everyone? My name is Mo, and I'm the founder of Time Off Audio. I have two plugins out, which I want to show you guys. The first plugin is DimeTT. If you're familiar with Quantum by Waves Factory or Fission by Eventide, it's very much similar in that it splits the transient and tonal sections of an incoming sound and lets you run them through a chain of effects. The main difference is that those effects that you can run your audio through are none other than your own plugins. If we look at the interface here, in the top section, you have your transient, which we'll run some audio through in just a second. And in the bottom, you have your tonal. The left-hand side, you have your plugin slots. You can solo each section, which we'll make use of in just a minute. You have your mix slider, so you can adjust the intensity of your processing as you see fit. And on the right-hand side, if you really want to completely change the blend of transient and tonal content, you could do that here. You can really use this as a transient shaper in its most basic form without running any effects through it. And last but not least, at the very top here, you have the transient detection settings, which let you dial in just how sensitive you want the transient detection algorithm to be. In the session here, I have 3 tracks. So I have a drum loop, a kick, and a simple wavetable synth here in Ableton that I want to show you DimeTT in 3 different contexts. And in each context, it serves its own purpose. So let's hear what we have with the drum loop. Right now, all the effects here on DimeTT are bypassed. First thing you typically want to do with DimeTT is dial in the detection in a way that splits the transient from the tonal in a way that you want, right? So this is where the solo functionality is really useful. So let's see how we're splitting it at the moment. As you can hear, we're kind of splitting that first hit of the loud hi-hat from the very beginning of the snare. What's happening on the tonal? So this is where we get most of the body of the snare, right? One thing I want to do on this drum track is kind of give it some air, but without making the percussive bits of hi-hats and the snare sound too over the top. One thing I've done here is put up PsyQ by Soundtoys on the transient. I put a Valhalla vintage verb on the tonal, followed by Tal Chorus LX, my favorite chorus plugin. Super simple, but mighty effective. And finally, Fresh Air. Let's hear what it all sounds like together. What's really cool, I think, is that we didn't have to set up a bus or duplicate the track to get like really surgical processing, if you think about it. It's all been done very transparently and quickly. And I want to show you a very neat trick here. You're familiar with Sidechain, right? So a lot of the plugins you use, compressors or, EQs, etc., they accept a sidechain input. And obviously you could use those plugins inside DimeTT. All you need to do is make sure that here in the sidechain input of DimeTT itself, that you set up the track you want to use as sidechain, and DimeTT will automatically route that sidechain signal to all the plugins that are hosted inside of it. Which means that what I can do here is route the drum loop as sidechain to Track Spacer, which is carving out its own space with the kick. Let's see what it all sounds like together. All we can hear is that it's gelling pretty nicely. Again, nothing is clipping, but let's isolate the kick to kind of hear what's happening. So see how the first kick where there's no snare is like full, but the second bit of the kick, we just get that clickiness because the main body we want is already present in the snare. You kind of get this fun interplay here, and there's not much content in the tonal here. As we can hear, the first kick where there's no snare layered on top, we get the full kick. And for the second one, we only get that clicky bit. So far I've shown you Dime TT and kind of like mixing scenarios, right? But it's really fun, really cool to use for sound design. If you prefer messing around with sound design by using your own plugins rather than, you know, by going into the synths, like built-in effects and being limited by that and having to set up like crazy modulation matrices and whatnot, this is a fresh take on that, basically. So let's see if I can get something maybe a bit different by playing with the detection settings. What do we have in the transient? So I like having a short decay here, and let's see what it sounds like when I put it through SideQ, Valhalla Vintage Verb, and Echo Boy Jr. You can reorder the plugins to kind of, you know, keep experimenting, keep having fun with it. And you get the idea, like your own plugins become a sound design playground, basically.